Hello and welcome to Left, Right and Centre. I'm Sarah Jacob. Let's get you up to date with the headlines tonight. 900 COVID funerals in the last 22 days in the capital's largest crematorium, around 2 funerals every hour. Authorities struggle to handle the high number of bodies. Family members have to wait for hours to perform the last rites of their loved ones. 25 patients died due to low oxygen pressure at the Jaipur Golden Hospital in Delhi. The hospital says its pleas for oxygen supply went unheard. A private hospital in Amritsar says 6 critically ill patients have died due to an oxygen shortage. The district administration is probing the matter. Gasping for oxygen, Delhi hospitals go to the High Court. The Arvind Kejriwal-led Delhi government tells the court, if we don't get 480 metric tons of oxygen, the system will collapse. The lawyer for the centre tells the Delhi government, let's not be a crybaby here. Finally, India moves into emergency mode. Prime Minister Modi chairs another high-level meet. The centre waves off basic customs duty, health cess on oxygen and COVID-19 vaccines. Amidst an oxygen crisis, the Indian Air Force aircraft lift high-capacity tankers for oxygen from Singapore. And after a shortage of beds, antiviral drugs and oxygen, a leading Delhi diagnostic lab sounds caution over COVID testing material shortage, puts out a statement humbly requesting authorities concerned to step in and expedite supplies. But some good news. Mumbai reports 5,888 new COVID cases on Saturday evening, a significant drop from the 7,221 it reported on Friday. The daily positivity rate has dropped to below 15%. From 18% last week. This is a 3-week low in daily cases. Maharashtra has been under strict restrictions since the 14th of April.
Hello everyone, thank you so very much for your birthday wishes. It's truly made my day. Last month has been a tough month for me.
On his 48th birthday, the cricket icon Sachin Tendulkar, who's just recovered from COVID-19, pledges to donate his blood for plasma therapy, urges others who've recovered from the deadly infection to do the same. And Justice M.V. Ramana is sworn in as the new Chief Justice of India. All right, our top story. An unprecedented surge in COVID cases has left several hospitals in Delhi gasping for oxygen. In a desperate move today, perhaps, after telling the High Court that the centre was not complying with the allocation of oxygen to the state, the Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal has written to all other chief ministers asking if they have any oxygen to spare. On Friday, the national capital logged 348 deaths linked to COVID, the highest in a day so far, leaving its crematoriums, its burial sites overburdened, making them a site for traumatic scenes as family members have to wait for hours, hoping for a spot, a square piece of land to cremate their loved ones.
Nigam Bodh Ghat, one of the largest crematoriums in the country, is struggling to handle the high number of bodies for funerals. The cremation ground witnessed 900 COVID funerals in the last 22 days, around 2 funerals every hour. Family members here have to wait for hours to perform the last rites of their loved ones.
अब इन्होंने फिर कल 4 बजे इन्होंने बॉडी का बोला, हमें 7 बजे बॉडी मिलेगी और अब 7 बजे से हम वहाँ खड़े हुए हैं. अभी तक अब बॉडी आई है हमारी. एक एम्बुलेंस में भाई साहब 4-4, 5-5 बॉडी आ रही है.
This is the area reserved for COVID patients. This is the ambulance from LNJP Hospital, which has brought 4 bodies. Ambulance drivers and attendants have lost count of the number of bodies they have ferried from hospitals to crematoriums.
अकेला इंसान क्या करेगा? इस बात का जवाब दीजिए. कितना बॉडी आप हैंडल कर रहे हैं अभी? ये मैं बता नहीं सकता.
Families also complain of steep prices of flowers, incense sticks and milk sold outside the ghat, which are used during the last rites.
हम पहले से बहुत ज़्यादा परेशान हैं. हॉस्पिटलों के अंदर बहुत ज़्यादा लूट मचा रखी है. 2 दिन का 3 दिन का हमारा 2.5 लाख रुपए का बिल बना दिया उन्होंने. वहाँ से एम्बुलेंस से जमुना पार से निगमबोध घाट लेके आए हैं, उसके अंदर 10,000 रुपये एम्बुलेंस वाले ने ले लिए।
The numbers keep increasing, setting a new record every day. Almost 14,000 people have succumbed to the infection in the national capital. From hospitals to crematorium grounds, the capital city is struggling with the rapid spread of the coronavirus. With camera person Sushil Rati and Pooja Arya, this is Arvind Gunasekar for NDTV.
And there were panicked scenes at various hospitals in the national capital as relatives were told to take their sick wards home and make their own arrangements for oxygen as hospitals were running out of the life-saving gas. 25 patients being treated for serious coronavirus symptoms. 25 patients admitted at the Jaipur Golden Hospital died on Saturday amidst a shortage of medical oxygen.
43-year-old Kamal is inconsolable. His brother and sister-in-law were admitted to Jaipur Golden Hospital in Delhi. This morning, he got a call from the hospital saying both his relatives had died due to lack of oxygen. For the last 3 hours, he's been waiting here outside the hospital for their bodies.
मेरे भाई साहब और भाभी दोनों की होगी, दोनों की गलती कर दी थी ऑक्सीजन की वजह से, ऑक्सीजन नहीं था जी।
22-year-old Gaurav's mother and father both died at this hospital, allegedly due to lack of oxygen.
मोम की तो वही ऑक्सीजन फ्लैचुलेट बंद हो गया था एकदम अचानक, अम्बेडकर हॉस्पिटल पता नहीं क्या हुआ, XYZ रीजन दे रहे हैं जो डॉक्टर, वहीं डेथ हो गई ऑन द स्पॉट। फादर का कॉल आया रात को 1 बजे कि एक बार आ जाओ, आपके फादर देख लो। आया हूँ तो यहाँ बता दें कि डेथ हो गई आपके फादर की, रात को ही फोन पे कह दिया था उन्होंने डेथ हो गई।
Just a few kilometers away at Saroj Hospital, 140 COVID patients are on oxygen support, but the hospital says they have not received oxygen supply for the last 2 days. They have now put up a notice saying they are discharging patients as oxygen is running out.
हमने ये बोला है कि इस समय हमारे पास ऑक्सीजन खत्म होती जा रही है, हम लोग बैकअप पे हैं सिलेंडर से, और जो 1-1.5 घंटे के अंदर खत्म हो जाएगी। सब पेशेंट्स को ये अलर्ट किया गया है कि काइंडली मेक योर, कृपया अपना अरेंजमेंट अपने आप बनाएं, अगर हो सकता है तो वेरी गुड, नहीं तो हम सब लोग मिलकर जो भी कंसिक्वेंसेस होंगे फेस करेंगे।
There are around 20 hospitals in Delhi where it's an hourly struggle to get oxygen for their patients. Delhi's Saroj Super Speciality Hospital, where at 10 o'clock in the morning, the administration requested the patients to be discharged as the hospital was out of oxygen.
My mother is very critical in the ICU. वो कह रहे हैं ऑक्सीजन नहीं है, and my mother is on a ventilator situation which is high oxygen power. Sir, हम लगे पड़े हैं हर जगह पे, कहीं cylinders नहीं मिल रहे हैं. We are not getting full cylinders, so we are trying to find empty cylinders because we can still get those filled.
At Delhi's Batra Hospital, the situation equally grim, with hapless doctors resorting to sending out SOS messages on social media, pleading for help, saying they were panicked and exhausted trying to keep patients from breathing their last.
I've been waiting at the Delhi Secretariat to meet the Special Secretary Health for the past 2 hours to arrange oxygen. In the meantime, the oxygen at our hospital has finished completely at about 2 p.m. and we really see no hope because there is no oxygen supply in the pipeline as well. We really wish and pray for our patients and for something to be done in this difficult hour. Kindly help.
Meanwhile, as per Centre's allocation order dated 18th of April, Inox, one of the largest medical oxygen suppliers to Delhi, was to supply 105 metric tons per day to Delhi hospitals. On Friday, they have supplied only 83 metric tons. The Delhi High Court today lashed out as it heard a hospital's petition over shortage of oxygen for seriously ill COVID patients, saying anyone obstructing the supply of oxygen will not be spared. The Delhi government told the court that the system will collapse if the capital doesn't get 480 metric tons of oxygen.
As the number of COVID-19 cases are on a rise, hospitals continue to be overstretched with more work. And as the patients are running around for hospital beds, now hospitals are running around for oxygen. And no permanent solution by the government or the authorities in sight.
With camera person AJ Joseph and colleague Arvind Gunasekar, I'm Akshay Dongre for NDTV.
An unimaginable situation in the national capital. 25 people died due to an oxygen shortage in hospitals. This is in the capital of India. So much so that the Chief Minister now has to request other states if they can spare some oxygen. Who is responsible? Will anyone be held accountable? Let's go across to Atishi, national spokesperson and MLA with the AAP, Abhishek Dutt, spokesperson for the Congress, vice president of the Delhi Congress, and PKD Nambiar, a political analyst who supports the BJP. Atishi, to you first. A lack of beds, oxygen, medicines. This is the capital crisis. Who would think this is India's capital? And today the High Court had some strong words, not just for the centre, for the AAP Delhi government too, because the centre is saying this is the problem of the Delhi government's internal law. They are saying they are providing the oxygen. Last mile delivery needs to be coordinated by the Delhi government.
Sarah, I think first of all what we need to understand is that this current spike that we are seeing is something that, let alone the central government, Delhi government, I don't think that this is something that was predicted by the medical, scientific or statistical community as well.
No, of course it was.
Even
We've
when
seen the second wave in England.
No, Sarah. It was not the kind of second wave that India has seen, with the number of cases going up to more than 3 lakh cases a day in a matter of 15 days has not happened anywhere in the world. Even in the US, at the peak of the crisis, this kind of peak was reached in 60 days, what has been reached in India in a matter of 14 to 15 days. So the extent to which this peak would come and the speed at which it would come was not anticipated by anyone, be it in the medical community, scientific community, let alone the politicians. So this is something that and I think that this is something the central government.
To NDTV.
No, Sarah,
medical experts have been consistently saying there will be a second wave. We need to prepare.
A second wave was not expected to the extent it has come and with the speed that it has come. And I think on that, there is no one who would say that this was anticipated. Number one. So yes, it is definitely a challenge. It is a challenge. And now what has emerged as the biggest bottleneck is the supply of oxygen. Now Delhi is actually in a peculiar situation because Delhi, because of NGT orders, is not allowed to have heavy industrial plants. Therefore, oxygen supply that is coming in from heavy industrial plants has to come in from other parts of the country. Predominantly the production happens in Haryana and in Uttar Pradesh. And that is the reason why Delhi is dependent on those. Second, oxygen is a centrally regulated commodity where the centre allocates quotas to different state governments and the centre therefore decides where the oxygen is going to come from, how much oxygen is going to come. In the last few days, what we have seen in Delhi had a quota of 305 metric tons. While on paper, this quota has been increased to 480 metric tons. In reality, Delhi has not even been getting 200 metric tons. I have spent the last several hours in the oxygen war rooms that we have set up, and yet the same battle and the same crisis goes on a day-to-day basis, that one tanker was to go, one has been called by the Haryana government, what is to be done. And I think that what really needs to be stepped up is the support and the coordination by the central government across all states. Otherwise, the thing is, it does not help if we keep blaming each other, because till oxygen supplies resume and are increased, there is no way that any government or private hospital can actually increase beds.
PKD Nambiar, inconscionable if the centre, if it looks like the Delhi's oxygen supply from the centre is being reduced, or if it's being, not sent smoothly to Delhi where it is needed. And in court today, the Kejriwal government tells the court if they don't get oxygen, the system will collapse. And the lawyer for the centre tells the Delhi government, let's not be a crybaby.
I agree with Atishi in few things. This is something like
the first we've heard BJP and AAP in agreement. Both leaders from the BJP and the AAP have made statements in the run-up to the second wave saying that this is, nothing. We're over the hill. We've handled the situation.
Can I come in, Sarah?
Yes, please go ahead.
I'll tell you, Sarah. The challenge is that over the last 1 year, Delhi as a state which has got more than 50 plus hospitals, which are more than 100 bed hospitals, And I don't agree with Atishi for that the NGT ban is for an industrial production of big centers. Why not even a single private hospitals in Delhi do not even have a captive oxygen plant? What the Atishi herself was talking about a huge health infra which was created by the so-called most educated chief minister of the country. Why there is not even a single hospital have a captive oxygen plant? You don't require to have an industrial oxygen plant. I also have done some kind of a basic engineering. You don't require to have it. Why? Because the government did not have any policy. A government like Kerala, where they have increased their overall production of oxygen by 50% in the last 1 year. What happened to Kejriwal government? He was not even known to the basic health infra. He starts with something like a basic oxygen supply. Why? Like hospitals like Apollo Hospital, Max, many of these such big hospitals which is government aided land is there. Why they have not been given approval to have their own captive power?
All right, but I'm glad you raised the example of Kerala, because many are saying don't follow the Gujarat model, follow the Kerala model. You can hear that being heard on social media, because similarly the Modi government invited bids for 150 oxygen plants in October. Today there are only 33 up. Let's get in the Congress. Abhishek Dutt, this time round, the Congress sitting on the sidelines. Who is to blame over here? You have the AAP leaders and BJP leaders have both publicly made statements dismissing the second wave, saying that we have overcome the worst, basically congratulating their leadership, the central leadership or the chief minister, for tackling the COVID situation in the capital and at the center.
Sarah, you got it absolutely right. I would also like to give you a very small example of the Rajasthan model. You know, the central government had advised the Delhi government to set up 8 PSA plants and oxygen storage plants. And you'll be surprised to know only 1 plant has been established in Delhi in Burari. 7 of them have not been done. This was due to in December. Rajasthan was allocated 37 plants, out of which 24 are operational and 13 are about to get operational. Plus the oxygen storage facilities has been done in Rajasthan. So this is the model that a state should have followed. What really surprises me today, Sarah, is when Atishi says that no one had told that there will be a second wave. There are so many studies which are very clearly defining about the second wave of COVID. And you'll be surprised to know, last year, when a week after the lockdown, a very high-powered committee of EG6, Empowerment Group 6, had very clearly defined that in the coming years, coming months, there'll be severe need of oxygen. Proper setup needs to be done. Transportation needs to be planned. But I don't think anyone took this seriously. At that time, there were just 3,000 cases in Delhi. So I failed to understand the logic behind not creating any storage for oxygen, not creating any provision of PSA, and most important, when Delhi government knows that
we reached a point when we were down to 100 cases in Delhi. How have we squandered this past year? Thank you all for joining us. We're out of time, but the irony is that we have the world's leading vaccine manufacturer rushing to import vaccines, and we were exporting oxygen in 2021, and Indians are now gasping. And if it wasn't bad enough that we're struggling with the shortage of beds, antiviral medicines, oxygen, now a large diagnostic chain has sounded caution over an impending shortage of material used in testing for COVID-19. They put out a statement. It says, we humbly request the authorities concerned to step in immediately and help diagnostic labs across India expedite supplies of these regions for manufacturers so that labs can give timely reports to patients. That is a statement from the Dr. Dang's lab, whose lab was founded in 1983, counted among India's best diagnostic chains. And joining us tonight on Left, Right and Centre is the Dr. Dang himself. Dr. Dang, thank you for joining us, Naveen Dang. But this is worrying. So how serious is this? People are unable to get tests. Results are taking days, thousands scrambling every day to send their supplies for COVID testing. This is a disaster waiting to happen.
Sarah, I would like to clarify that the testing kits for testing for RT-PCR are in abundant supply.
Good.
What
Thank
we
God.
are facing shortage. What we are facing shortage of is for testing for post-COVID positive patients. Like what we look for after patient tests positive are for the inflammatory markers.
Yes.
Inflammatory markers like interleukin 6, D-dimer,
And that will determine whether a patient gets admitted into a hospital or not when we're facing a shortage of beds.
Yes, these tests are very important for us to find out the progress of the disease, whether the patient needs to be admitted, and what further treatment needs to be required to be given. We are running absolutely short of kits for all the labs all over the country. We are hand to mouth. We are requesting the suppliers, the manufacturers to provide us, and that is again where we are facing an acute shortage. Every day we are living day to day, and as I'm on this media, I would request the public, the people of the country, to please bear with us. We are living and surviving day to day and trying to get as many kits as we can to serve the people. But unfortunately, like as of now, my lab has got practically minimal kits. I do not know how many tests will I be able to do on Monday. Like I said, we are living day to day. Tomorrow we'll come to know what we have on Monday. My morning starts by praying to God and then asking the manufacturers to supply us. Sometimes we'll have ample supply, sometimes we don't. And needless to say, the patients feel very harassed, which embarrasses us, all of us, very much. Last 40 years, we have built up a practice to serve our patients to the best of our ability. But unfortunately, as we're not able to provide the results in time, it really hassles the patients and breaks my heart too. I really implore that something should be done, that the kits are here in time, please.
Dr. Dang, we thank you for your service. Everyone in your team, in your labs, we can hear how you are speaking so humbly, asking for help, asking the authorities to hear your pleas. These are important tests. They dictate management of COVID positive patients. They will decide based on these tests. Doctors can take timely decisions, deciding whether somebody is a serious patient or not, whether they need admission to a hospital. So this certainly is a problem. Dr. Dang, since I have your time, may I also ask, there's a huge shortage of people being able to get tests. I tried to apply for someone for a test last week. Took 2 days to hear back, and today I got a message saying there's no personnel available. But the problem, Dr. Dang, is that many hospitals are not even giving you admission in many cases if you don't have a test, that's positive, certainly. And often it's too late. We're hearing of cases where patients are not getting admission simply because they haven't been able to get a test and they've died.
Sarah, a very pertinent point you have raised. We have the infrastructure, we have the equipment, but where we are falling short of the people to come and collect the samples. We are in the middle of a pandemic. The large number of employees of all labs, of all industry, of all professions are themselves down with COVID. There are people who themselves are suffering, the family members are suffering, and so they are not able to come and cater. Like in your case, what you cited, and the case of so many people, we get requests, but we had an X number of employees who are looking after all our patients very, very well. We're going to the homes and collecting samples at drive-through centers, etc., etc. But now, because of the limitation of manpower, which is again just simply beyond our control, and again through this media, I request the people only to get themselves tested when it is necessary. We are facing an acute shortage of manpower, which is absolutely beyond our control. We had enough people till about 15 days back, till about 10 days back, but now as a large number of people from different professions have fallen sick, or the family members have fallen sick, this is not the case with one lab, it's a case with entire healthcare fraternity. It may be hospitals, it may be chemist shops, it may be nursing homes, it may be pharmacies, it may be labs. We are all facing a shortage of manpower. That is what's preventing the delay in sample collection also. Please.
Dr. Dang, thank you again. For over a year, you, your team, healthcare workers, frontline workers have been working round the clock. We can only thank you for your service and thank you for your time.
Thank you, Sarah. Thank you very much.